Good morning, Krusty Crew. We're back at it again. Today's video is about Tremaine Emory, and I never thought I'd be saying these words in my entire life, but I think this man you're seeing right here, this nigga right here, he might actually be a genius. Let me explain. So everyone knows that back in, let me see what year it was. Looks like in 2022, Tremaine Emory was appointed as the creative director of Supreme. Everyone knows he had a big falling out. He really was only over there for a year, but this is the first time Supreme ever had a creative director, and that was seen as a really big deal. The fact that Supreme was going to let someone else steer the ship for once. And Supreme has had a pretty repetitive playbook for the past, I'd say, 10 or 15 years. In the beginning, it was working great. They needed someone to come mix shit up, and this guy right here, this nigga right here, is the one they called in to do the job. I think that was a smart pick from them. It didn't work out. Everyone knows that they had a crash out. So the reason why he was no longer the creative director of Supreme, or the crash out happened, was because he wanted to have this graphic right here put on a t-shirt. Supreme wasn't okay with it. They lied and said they were okay with it. Then after the fact, they said they weren't okay with it and they never confronted him. He got triggered. He got pissed off. But since that day, he's had a beef with Supreme. And no one's really ever beefed with Supreme that has a name for themselves. I know Kanye West and him were beefing kind of back and forth, and then Kanye dropped the Diss clothing line, right? Ye was the first to really start a fashion beef. You know this nigga beefs with absolutely everybody. That's just Ye fashion. But just beefing with Tremaine Emory in a very different way. What I thought was interesting was he was using Supreme graphics to go at Tremaine Emory. And it was actually kind of working. This shit's kind of flight, I can't lie. Then he also has this other Tremendous tee. So fast forward to 2024, now Supreme and Tremaine Emory are beefing because the crash out happened, right? And I feel like he's been taking a lot of inspiration from Supreme and then kind of flipping that against him, using the fact that he was creative director of Supreme to get a spotlight on him, one, to better share his ideas. Two, to be able to go at Supreme and rip off their graphics without anyone saying it. Another thing Tremaine Emory did that I think was just genius is he used the graphics that caused the fallout between him and Supreme for his own brand, right? That's just a giant middle finger to Supreme saying, you are not the only show in town. The fact that he has a brand that's equally hot as Supreme, he's using that and he's leveraging it to his advantage. He's able to get out his thoughts and ideas without Supreme, and not too many people can do that. A lot of people, when they work for these bigger corporations, they might not have their own stuff, but Tremaine Emory does. And then he says, fuck you with his brand without saying fuck you by dropping the graphics. And then I also like the way that he took Supreme's graphic and then used it against them. The same way that Supreme's graphics were used against him when he was for Supreme, he's doing it to Supreme now on some fuck Supreme shit. I think this was an 1,000 IQ play by Tremaine Emory. I actually really do like this. When you look here, you can see the graphic that Tremaine Emory and Supreme had the disagreement on. It's like the Black Entertainment tee. And what I think this is interesting is he made a collection of the pieces that caused the falling out in him and Supreme, because that's a moment of streetwear history. In the back, the Systemic Racism Controls America piece I think is mwah, because this is what he truly believes, flips it, it's his own idea, his own expression, and Supreme wording. Love it. When you see these kind of graphics, the first thing that comes to mind is these are pretty racially charged and inflammatory. But when you talk inflammatory and denim tears, there's no way that we can not talk about the Kiss My Grits collection. After Supreme and Tremaine Emory parted ways, this was the collection that he dropped. It's called Kiss My Grits. And this was one that was very, very polarizing. People felt a lot of things. But if you look, they're kind of based on black stereotypes, especially southern black stereotypes. You have watermelon, you have chicken bones. This one's not as bad, just the okra. You have these jean shorts, which are pyro, by the way. I love these shorts. This is also a fruit collage button-up. I think this is neat. Kind of ugly, but it's like all themed around southern foods that are known in the black culture. But we can't talk about this collection without talking about that one piece. We cannot talk about the Denim Tears Kiss My Grits collection without talking about this handmade chicken bone necklace. This right here was one of the most controversial pieces dropped in 2024, and we usually don't see controversy around clothing because no one really gives a fuck. So this brings me to my next point, that when he drops something, this chicken bone necklace for example, let's just look on Twitter and see what people have to say about it. This was March 6th, when the lookbook dropped, people see the chicken bone necklace, cool. And they're all sharing their piece. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Jit twirl talking about a chicken bone necklace. This man really trying to sell us watermelon jeans and a chicken bone necklace. Chicken bone necklace is just beyond insane. Tremaine Emory, you will be dealt with. Denim Tears got a chicken bone necklace for sale. Ask me again why I'll never support that lazy brand. Chicken bone necklace, $700. People are commenting out the ass and saying what they think about a clothing piece that you dropped. Good or bad, that doesn't even happen anymore. The clothing market is so flooded that when someone drops, it's kind of like when a tree falls in the forest and you're not around. No one gives a fuck. But when you drop the chicken bone necklace for whatever reason, it hit a chord. It struck a chord. People felt the need to just speak on it. When's the last time you've seen someone speak on a collection online, especially this many people? I'm just scrolling through time here. Let's just keep on scrolling. He's right. This one, but Denim Tears is lame as hell and I will never wear cotton wreaths and a chicken bone necklace. Be serious. People hate it, but they're talking about it. Denim Tears was always trash, but the chicken bone necklace and the watermelon pants solidified it. So then this is 1 month later. They're still talking about the fucking chicken bone necklace. This is April. Let's keep scrolling. This is August 14th. So this dropped, what is that, 5 months later? 5 months later, people are still talking about this. It's kind of like the impact of someone that would have when they drop a song or something, you know? When someone has a song declaring something, it's that big of a deal where people hold you to that and they remember it, but he did it through clothing. They struck a chord with people. And if you're a Rick Rubin type, you think that great art makes people want to feel something. And even if you feel pissed, you're feeling something. What else I think is very interesting is usually the left-leaning people, especially nowadays, they're very, very sensitive, right? They're known as kind of like the sensitive crowd, the woke, the this, the that. But it's almost like he has an aggressive, radical approach that the right has and the whole MAGA crew has in his views, and he's able to express that through clothing. If there was ever such thing as a radical streetwear brand, he's the first person to have it and crack that code. It's probably the most politically charged streetwear brand I've ever seen in my life, which I think is very interesting. Usually streetwear is away from all of that, but the fact that he's managed to take his personal opinions, his views, his pain, his story, and put it into clothing as well as he has, I think that's a banger. That brings to my next point. You have his breakout design, the cotton wreath. This was kind of like what put up Denim Tears on the map. I think this shit is fire as fuck. I don't really say I'd cop stuff, but this right here I tried for. I think these are fire as fuck. I think these are fire as fuck. I love the dirty wash and I love the cotton wreath print. The theme of it is inspired by the Great Black Jockeys, which I guess were a group of black men that were the original jockey riders and were probably some of the best. That's just my guess. I didn't look into this, but the fact that he's able to take a shirt or make a hoodie or make a piece and then have a book to go with it, that's some next level visionary shit, y'all. Come on, let's keep it a bean. That's interesting. That's actually different. Do you have to agree with it? No, but let's just agree that it's different and it's actually like mindful. Nowadays, people can go into a Photoshop, put some random Y2K shit, then put an anime girl to go with it, put the name of their shitty street brand, print a million of them, try to just give it to Playboy Cardi and blow up. This is different. It's thoughtful. It's thoughtful. And the fact that you're able to take something like you learning about the great black jockeys, maybe he's been known about it, maybe he just found out. But the fact that he's able to take that and put it into a collection is pretty impressive to me. Do I like all of it? No. I think that's the point. You have the cotton wreath, which I think kind of carries the brand, but then also when you have his other ideas, they're different, they're out there. While it is all different and it is all out there, I think the most important thing is that it's still mindful and a cohesive collection. When I see a lot of his interviews, he says that he's big on movies and storytelling, and I think he does that really well through clothing. I know the cotton wreath is the most important piece that he has and is really kind of the moneymaker, but I just think it's one part of a bigger story that he's trying to tell us. And I think he might have done this the best. But when I look at his other pieces, what I see is that he's trying to convey a greater story, even if you don't want to hear it, even if you don't give a fuck enough to try to figure it out. The fact that he's telling the story and doing it all through clothing, I would say that's unheard of, and I think he does a pretty decent job of it. When he posts some of this stuff and I see these tees for the first time, sometimes I'll just pop a Google search to see if I can learn a little bit more about what he's trying to tell us. Because I do think that he's mindful enough to not just put some bullshit on a shirt, he wants it to mean something. I think the dude gets a lot of hate online, but I think I'm starting to see his vision, and I think each clothing piece is a piece to a puzzle that he's trying to tell you, a story he's trying to tell. Let me know if I'm tripping in the comments below, guys. Like I said, I do think he's a genius. I think he did a great job of dissing Supreme through clothing, breaking the internet and breaking the timeline and getting people to talk about his clothing, and then telling a story through his clothing as well. I really think he does a solid job of it, and I don't think there's too many designers nowadays that even do that. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Am I tripping 100%? Am I keeping it a band? Do you understand my angle? Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. There's more videos on the way. Peace.